Horror as a movie genre has been around for a little over 130 years now, and the first horror miniseries began with Lights Out in the 1930s. Thousands of horror miniseries have graced the small screen since, so it's natural for some gems to fly under the radar. However, these deserve the same recognition and love as the rest, given their ability to keep you on the edge of your seat. So today, we shall uncover these hidden gems for you to sit back, enjoy, and explore later on. But before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Residue, 2015. Created by Alex Garcia Lopez, this British miniseries intertwines horror, sci-fi, and futuristic elements. The series begins with an explosion known as the Catastrophe in an unnamed futuristic UK metropolis, which leads to people being quarantined and bizarre acts of violence erupting across the metropolis. It follows the journey of photojournalist Jennifer Preston, who is documenting the catastrophe when she begins to notice strange, ephemeral phantoms in her photographs. It becomes clear to her that the catastrophe is connected with a paranormal phenomenon taking over the zone where people have been quarantined, simply referred to as the phenomenon. What follows is a complex yet thrilling journey as Jennifer realizes that reality is far more dangerous than she had imagined. A 3-episode series, Residue begins as a slow burn. Perfectly weaving in mystery, intrigue, and subtlety, it makes you curiouser and curiouser from the pilot episode itself. Building on its established premise, Residue offers a spine-tingling mix of horror, sci-fi, and even a bit of politics, making it the thriller to watch curled up on your sofa on a rainy afternoon.
Stanley boy. Yeah.
It, TV miniseries 1990. It is a 2-part psychological horror miniseries based on Stephen King's novel of the same name. Adapted to the small screen by Lawrence D. Cohen and directed by Tommy Lee Wallace, this miniseries follows a bunch of outcast kids vowing to kill the predatory monster that can transform itself into the worst fears of its victims, psychologically exploiting them. When not exploiting its victims, the monster takes the form of a demonic clown, Pennywise. What follows is a thrilling journey of good versus evil, taking place over 2 time periods, as the protagonists confront Pennywise twice, once as children and finally as adults. It, with its childlike horror, is mainly geared towards children. Nevertheless, it's also able to charm adult viewers with its premise, as well as the protagonists, a few outcast kids who are on a quest to triumph against all odds. The characters are likable and relatable, and the story in itself offers a thrilling mix of nostalgia and horror. So, if you're one for some 90s nostalgia with a terrific dash of horror, this really needs to be at the top of your list.
Что же там произошло?
Room 207, 2022. Room 207 is a more recent addition to a long line of Egyptian horror miniseries. Based on the novel The Mystery of Room 207 by the late Egyptian novelist Khalid Tawfiq, this miniseries is set in a remote motel where mysterious things happen to those who check in to Room 207. The miniseries follows the journey of the newly appointed receptionist, Jamal Al-Sawaf, who becomes fascinated with the mysteries of Room 207 and is determined to uncover the truth. While motel-based stories are nothing new in the horror genre, what Room 207 does is offer a fresh take on the mysterious motel trope. From the ability of the room in question to repair itself to new terrors springing up at every nook and corner, Room 207 is able to capture your attention, keeping you guessing till the very end. The thrill is something you don't want to miss out on. Dracula, 2020. You might be hard-pressed to find any other figure in the horror genre that is as explored and as beloved as Dracula, the vampire created by Bram Stoker. This 2020 Dracula miniseries, adapted to the small screen by Mark Gatiss and Stephen Moffat, follows the origins of Count Dracula in Eastern Europe, as the protagonist, Jonathan Harker, travels to meet him in order to close a property sale. However, what awaits him is far beyond his wildest and most horrific imagination. With the many adaptations of Dracula out there, this miniseries is quite at risk of getting lost. However, it makes its way into this list as it works on 2 counts. For one, it pays homage to the countless counts gone by, and for another, it manages to leave a mark of its own with its rather suave and seductive version of Dracula, while also shedding light, no pun intended, on his vulnerability. A perfect blend of something old and something new. It happens to be just the right miniseries if you're looking to fall in love with a devious count all over again. The Tommyknockers TV miniseries, 1993. Another of Stephen King's novel-based adaptations on the list, The Tommyknockers is a miniseries adapted to the small screen by Lawrence D. Cohen and directed by John Power. Set in the town of Haven, New England, it follows the residents as they find themselves facing their worst nightmares, being transformed into zombies by a green light emanating from a long-buried spaceship in the ground. While the mysterious green light has been able to devour almost all the residents, the one who is left unscathed is an alcoholic poet, Jim Gardner, who stands between humans and the mysterious alien race known as the Tommyknockers as they invade the Earth with their technological prowess. Right away, the Tommyknockers may seem like just another Earth versus alien invasion horror sci-fi thriller. While that may very well be the case as a plot point, why you need to give it a chance is because it's surprisingly good and downright scary at many points. The ending, even while not completely unexpected, still is a decent one that leaves you feeling good for a long time. The Enfield Haunting, 2015. Based on the book This House is Haunted by Guy Lyon Playfair and directed by Christopher Nyholm, this miniseries follows the true story of the Hodgson family as they move into a suburban house in Enfield, and the 11-year-old Janet Hodgson is plagued by paranormal activity. When this gets captured on the camera, the paranormal researcher Maurice Grosse is roped in to investigate alleged poltergeist activity. The Enfield Haunting is a miniseries that stands out in this list because of the fact that the book itself was written by someone who was closely involved in the case, making it a one-of-a-kind, first-hand account of the spine-tingling events. Moreover, it offers something for everyone. If you believe in ghosts, this is an outstanding thriller that will keep you awake at night. If you're a skeptic, it allows you to peek into paranormal research while also offering an insight into how tragedies, broken families, and hysteria can be closely intertwined with one another. Remember Me, 2014. Written by Gwyneth Hughes and directed by Ashley Pierce, this British miniseries has an unusual premise for a horror story. It follows the protagonist, Tom Parfitt, an elderly man who fakes a fall in order to escape to a care home. Once he sets foot in the care home, everything turns upside down, with the social worker being thrown out of a window and Tom himself going missing. When this happens, Tom's teenage care assistant, Hannah Ward, starts piecing the Tom puzzle together only to uncover a dark secret from his past, which explains the paranormal activity taking place against him. Remember Me offers an interesting twist to a horror story, while managing to do what a horror miniseries must do best: scare. It also touches upon a set of other elements, like the multicultural Yorkshire setting to the history of British Raj. In some ways, it acts as a social commentary. Moreover, if Monty Python fans want to see Michael Palin do something very different, then you don't have to look further than his portrayal of Tom Parfitt. Bag of Bones TV miniseries, 2011. Based on Stephen King's novel of the same name and adapted to the small screen by Matt Venn, Bag of Bones is based on a more complex plot than the other Stephen King entries on this list. It follows the journey of recently widowed writer Mike Noonan. Mike and his wife Jo had been unable to conceive given Mike's low sperm count. However, he conceals this fact from his wife, and when she dies in his arms after an accident, he notices that she had purchased a pregnancy test. He immediately assumes that she had an affair, and from then on starts suffering from writer's block. Following this, he retreats towards the lakeside in Maine. While there, he gets drawn to a widow and her custody battle with her daughter's grandfather. Following this, as Mike slowly regains his ability to write, he's also constantly bogged down by nightmares and visits by the ghost of Sarah Tidwell, who lingers in his lakeside retreat. During his experiences with the paranormal, he comes to realize that his late wife wishes to let him in on something far more sinister than her imaginary affair. Bag of Bones is not one to miss out on if you enjoy convoluted plot lines with multiple ghost stories intertwining with one another. While the original book fans may find that the characters have been dumbed down a bit for the small screen, the storytelling does not diminish one bit. Well-paced with a seemingly cinematic quality to it, this one will keep you hanging on for more. Midnight Mass, 2021. Created and directed by Mike Flanagan, Midnight Mass follows Riley Flynn's return to his hometown on Crockett Island after killing a woman in a drunk driving accident. There, he struggles to find a purpose in his life when a young and charismatic priest, Father Paul, enters his life and his town. However, the young Father Paul, despite his intentions of bringing faith back into the community, is not what he seems to be. What follows is a harrowing tale of mysterious events as the community becomes increasingly divided. Midnight Mass often gets overlooked in favor of Flanagan's other creations, like The Haunting of the Hill House and Bly Manor, which, we tell you, is nothing short of a travesty. Midnight Mass can be called Flanagan's passion project, as it seems reflective of his journey from Catholicism to atheism with a thrill of horror. Interspersed with Easter eggs, as Flanagan's fans and critics alike have come to expect, you'll even see him in a cameo, so watch out for it. Something is Out There, TV miniseries, 1988. So, 80s action fans, you didn't think we'd forget you, did you? Well, if you're craving for some 80s action-packed horror miniseries, Something Is Out There is just the one for you. Created by Frank Lupo and directed by Richard A. Calla, this horror miniseries aired as a weekly show on NBC in 1988. It follows the police officer, Jack Breslin, who is investigating a series of murders where the organs have been removed from the victims' bodies. When he questions a woman who has been spotted at the crime scenes, he discovers that she is an alien, a xenomorph, who is able to shapeshift and physically possess her victims. Another beautiful alien, who joins forces with Breslin, helps him hunt down the villainous alien. What follows is a thrilling tale packed with classic 80s action, gore, and horror. Something Is Out There was quite a popular miniseries when it aired. Yet, just what made it popular back then seems to be forgotten amidst the more recent horror miniseries that have popped up. So, here we are to remind you once again not to miss out on all that this 80s classic has to offer. Brand New Cherry Flavor, 2021. Now, back into the 21st century, Brand New Cherry Flavor is a horror miniseries developed by Lenore Zion and Nick Antosca, based on Todd Grimson's novel of the same name. Set in LA, it follows the protagonist, Lisa Nova, who puts her trust in a person who then betrays her, turning her life into a harrowing nightmare. Not a proverbial nightmare, but a real one involving hitmen, zombies, cute yet supernatural kittens, and one tattoo artist who is hell-bent on cursing other people. So, how is Lisa going to make it out of this nightmare in one piece, you ask? Well, for that, she'll have to work on unveiling some secrets from her past. With the more known combination of hitmen and zombies, and the relatively obscure combination of supernatural kittens and mysterious tattoo artists, Brand New Cherry Flavor is a bit of something old packed into something new. But old or new, you're going to be in for a crazy ride. If you want to cherry pick something strange and recent to watch, this miniseries is exactly what you want. The Stand, 1994. The Stand is the final entry on this list, and it also happens to be a horror miniseries based on Stephen King's post-apocalyptic novel of the same name. Adapted to the small screen by King himself and directed by Mark Garris, it follows a world divided into two warring factions in the aftermath of a deadly weaponized influenza that has wiped out most of the world. The survivors are now split into two. One is led by a benevolent elderly woman known as Mother Abigail, and the other is led by a malevolent being, a scary man known as Randall Flagg. What follows is an epic good versus evil battle, where those on the side of the good must confront the evil to have a chance at survival. The Stand as a miniseries follows most of the novel's plot points. It's also well-paced and well-directed, and compared to many other of King's novels that have been adapted to the small screen, this one remains the most faithful adaptation. In fact, King himself appears in a cameo role, something that will delight you as a fan or even a viewer. The events are big and spectacular, offering the best of the horror genre. Marvelous Verdict, And so there we are. We managed to unearth some of the best kept secrets in this video for horror fans all over the globe and give you a great list of miniseries you can binge watch. But as always, we want to hear from you. Do you agree with our list? Do you think we missed out on something? Or do you have some suggestions you'd like to make? Please let us know in the comments below. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.